All right, what's going on? You listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Ujumbe Means Message. And yes, we are here. This is another live stream that we got going on. I'm glad that you're here. Get something to write on, something to write with. I hope all is well with you. Greetings and hit the like button as you come in. Greet everybody as you come in. I'm grateful. I'm thankful that we are here together again one more time. What's going on, Miss Blue? Hello. What's going on? All right. All right. Now, very good. I hope all is well with you. And today we're going to talk about the temple complexes and the majestic gateway from Karnak to Hatshepsut's divine blueprint. Yeah, we about to get into it. Get something right on, something right with. Sit back, relax on this wonderful Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, and well, for those who are in the replay, I'm glad that you guys are here. Yeah, brother, first, good evening, back from vacation slash convention. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, you came just in time, sir. I got something for you. I got something for you. Yeah, I've been waiting. I've been holding this one back for a few weeks. I've been waiting on this one. I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad you came back safe. But yeah, we're gonna talk about temple complexes today. Yeah, we're gonna break some stuff down today. I got time because we as teachers about to go back to school tomorrow. So might as well just end the summer with a bang and we finna roll. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are here. What's going on? All right, now the question or humble request. The fam made a humble request. Break down the temple of Hatshepsut. Yeah, yeah, I got my notes. I got them. Yeah, I got it. So yeah, we're gonna break down the temple of Hatshepsut and some other temples today. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna break down Hatshepsut's temple, and yeah, we're talking about temple complexes and a majestic gateway. So, yeah, so today we're gonna talk about the temple as a cosmic machine, Nubian temples, soul of the South. We got to start from the South. We got to start from the South. So we're gonna talk about the temple as a cosmic machine, Nubian temple, soul of the South, and the power of alignment. Karnak Temple Complex. We're going to deal with the Temple of Karnak, solar thrones and ritual power, and Hatshepsut's mortuary temple, the Jesaru. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, today is that day. Today is that day, and I'm on that kind of timing. I'm very excited about this. I'm excited about everything that we do. But yeah, when it's time, when you guys asked about breaking down the temple, we got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. So let's go. Now, dealing with this, tonight we're gonna go deep. We're gonna get surgical. We're gonna get legendary today. We're gonna go beyond stone instruction into the sacred sciences encoded in temple architecture across Kemet and Nubia. Okay, we're gonna break this thing down. We're gonna break down some temples across Kemet and Nubia, and so we dealt with the history. I get you guys have been with us long enough to deal with the history. Now we're gonna deal with sacred memory, cosmology, and a blueprint for for spiritual mastery. From the mighty Karnak to the elegant terraces of Deir el-Bahari, which is Hatshepsut's mortuary temple. So we're going to enter into some gateways designed to activate memory and consciousness. Yeah. So let's begin. So this we're going to deal with the foundation understanding that the temple is, yes, it is stone, but it is cosmic technology. It is spiritual technology. These people put their heart and soul into every stone and into every idea. So in ancient Africa, temples were living mirrors of the universe, as above, so below, right? Every stone was aligned with rhythms of the cosmos. And I mentioned a few times before that these people, these stone builders, these master builders, built those monuments so perfect and so well that they carved the stones out so well to the point to where you can hit it and a note comes out. See what I'm saying? So they were aligned with the rhythms of the cosmos, solar solstice, lunar cycles. And speaking of the solstice and equinox, come September, we may take the month off. It depends. We may take the month off. So, but I got a few more things. I left that paper downstairs because I got some things coming up that you guys don't want to miss. So solar cycles, lunar cycles, stellar risings. I'm going to ask the question in a few minutes. Was one of these temples aligned with the constellation of Aries? Since we're going to have this conversation, let's have it all the way, right? And so, they aligned themselves with Sirius. Okay. Oh, let me see who else is in the building. Greet everybody as you come in. Hit the like button as you come in. Yeah. Brother Edwin Moore, good evening. Yes, sir. You're not late. Just in time, brother. You came just in time. Even look, y'all, he is trying to cheat. He already got his hand up saying he's here. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. That's not how it goes. You know, I check roll at the end. I check roll at the end, sir. Nope. But I'm glad you're here. So let's get to it. Now, the temples were not randomly built. They were oracular machines. They were machines. It may not, when we hear about machines, we think about metal, but these were stone machines designed to conduct divine energy, divine vibrations, and to elevate the priesthood and initiate the soul. Okay, these temples. Okay, and remember, we discussed the priesthood, we discussed the Kari Heb, we discussed the different facets and different levels, right? And we also discussed the education system. These temples weren't just a place of prayer, right? They were universities, they were schools. And once you were duly and truly prepared to move on or get into that next level, then they will elevate you. And so they designed to conduct the divine energy, elevate the priesthood, and initiate the soul. Now, some of you guys, and not everybody, but some of you are seeking to be duly initiated into a group or an organization. Here's the thing: the process starts with you. It starts with you. And now, because I'm gonna be honest, some of these people that deal with Kemet or African sciences, they are kind of crazy. That's the reason why I focus only on history. I may touch on symbolism every now and then, but if I didn't read it, I can't verify it, right? I'm not gonna tell you this, this is not a theology class. This is a history class. Now, we will touch on some esoteric science, we will touch on symbolism and whatnot, but when it comes down to you seeking knowledge, right, it starts with you. So it was best where to begin. You begin with you, and it's best for you to read, look, listen, and observe. You see what I'm saying? And so the architecture encoded with myth, math, and metaphysics. See, the temples were microcosms. Each room, each pillar, courtyard represented stages of creation. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes with Hatshepsut's temple. Yeah, how it is layered, and every courtyard, every facet represented something. Yeah, got you. And so, and they represented parts of the body or zones of the cosmos itself, right? So, now I talked about that. Now, here's the thing: the temples were activated spaces, and when we talk about sacred and activated spaces, kings of the south like Payi and Taharka went back to Kemet trying to reclaim their sacred space. Why? Because it was desecrated and disrespected. So they went back in the 25th dynasty and later on to try to reset this thing, right? And so they wanted to complete a harmonized order, the order of Ma'at. Think of them as, say, the priests. Think of the kings who was trying to do right and do righteous, were the tuning force between earth and heaven. Okay, so that's what they was trying to do. Were they successful? Sometimes they were, sometimes they were not, right? So, but let's go. Now, we got to start with the South. Yeah, we got to start with the South. The Nubian temples, soul of the South, and the power of alignment. The reason why the Kandaki, or the queens of Meroe, or the kings of Nubia were powerful was because they was in alignment with the ancestors. So we got to start with the South. We got to start with the mother of Kemet. A lot of people don't want to hear that. A lot of people don't want to hear the fact that that Nubia is the mother of Kemet. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on that. Okay, And I'm so not here to argue with people that know how to that don't know how to read, write, or spell. But Ethiopia is the mother of Nubia. Nubia is the mother of Kemet. Okay, so we have temples like the Soleb or Jebel Bakar and Napa to demonstrate the continuity of the sacred science between Nubia and Kemet. The mountains of Jebel Bakar, which I'm going to talk about in a second, has been known to be the crown of Amun and the place where kings were made. This is in the south. Okay. Before they can go and assert their authority, they had to be made in Jebel Bakar. Okay. And the temples were built in its sacred shadow. There is a temple right next to that holy mountain, in a sense, right? And so the Nubians reserved Amun as the Amun of the south. That's what they reserved that name for him, as the Amun, or the hidden one of the south, and maintained powerful temples and rituals long after the fall of Kemet. So their temples were often aligned with Sirius, the Nile flood, and cardinal directions. And we're going to deal with those cardinal directions in a minute too. And so the stonework held memory, power, and code. Now, when we get to Epitomac, which is the lion-headed Neteru in the Neter in Nubia, we discussed that with the thrones of fire and temple of light. We kind of discussed him briefly, but Epitomac was nothing to be played with. Okay, in Kushite tradition, but in the spiritual sacred science of Kush, he represents the solar fire within the human soul. Okay, the intelligence of the divine will, clothed in primal force of nature. He represented lion. He represented the lion, the ferocity of it, and the justice of it. Okay, so the lion head is symbolic of not just a physical power, but a spiritual power. It denotes the third. Some people get into the third chakra. I'm not, I don't understand a lot of that. Leave me alone. But they did. That's the third chakra, the seat of personal power transformation. From an esoteric standpoint, the lion, Epitomac, represent the awakened inner fire. The reason why the 25th dynasty was that powerful was because something awakened in them to say, hey, we need to do a hard reset. We gotta change this. Otherwise, Greece and Rome would totally run us over. So that lion had to be awakened, and that is the reality of it. We as a people have to wake up and stop playing and realizing that there are some people that are not for us. See what I'm saying? Everything ain't, kumbaya and whatnot. We got to actually let them know what time it is. Just like, Pai and many others. And so in many scenes of Napata, Epitomac is shown towering over kings, holding weapons, spearing enemies, yet the enemies can also be interpreted symbolically. Just like on this picture here, we have Queen Amanitore and her husband, Natakamani. These may not be physical enemies here. They may have to destroy the spiritual enemy within first. Before you can do anything, before you can go anywhere, you gotta deal with yourself first, right? You gotta deal with those tendencies, those issues here first before we go out there, all right? So yes, it could be symbolically that inner chaos, the unmastered emotions. We got to learn to subdue our passions and things like that, right? And the base instincts. So to be an adherent or a devotee of Epitomac, it was more than physical dominance. It was to engage in spiritual battle, just like Remesu, Ursa Ma'at Ra, Ra, Remesu Mary Amen, or Ramses II. He engaged in a spiritual battle, right? So this spiritual battle was self-mastery. So the Lion Temple itself was another cosmic machine, right? A machine of stone. Okay. And so let me see who's in the let me see. What's going on? Is it okay? African martial arts, what's going on, fam? Peace and blessings, fam. Great discussion. Yeah, we we just got started, sir. Yeah, we about to lean into it. Get you something right on something right with, because it's about to be fun. You see what I'm saying? So, but yes, we are here, yeah, on this good old Sunday afternoon, and we're gonna break a few things down. And so, These temples, very similar to the temples in Kemet, were precise. Okay, they're oriented according to the solar and stellar alignments. It functions as an energetic resonator designed to channel and amplify spiritual frequency. The inner sanctuary, okay, the Jesaru is likely reserved for the high level initiates, right? Everybody just didn't come in there. And matter of fact, I gotta bring Kemetic Nation back. I gotta bring them back. But they mentioned that there are some chambers in these temples that were not you couldn't get in there from a physical standpoint. You just couldn't walk in there. You had to know how to kind of make your way through there spiritually, right? And so the inner sanctuary, those who trained in the mysteries of Epidemic, which it was common knowledge to them. Okay, but check this out. Gebel Bakar, the holy mountain, the mountains of the kings, was the most sacred and misunderstood places. It was located in modern day Karma in Sudan. Okay, shout out to the family in Sudan. And it was where the ancient Kushites called it the throne of the Neteru. Okay, and the name Gebel Bakar means pure mountain or sacred mountain. Okay, now when we deal with this, when we deal with the queens of the South and Epidemic, we're talking about the metaphysical and the physical, right? We're talking about astral alignments. We're talking about alchemical fusion of divine, masculine, and feminine. At the heart of this temple is the lion-headed Neteru. In Kemet, they had Heru, they had Osiris, but in Nubia, they had him. Okay. And for those who are into astronomy and everything, this is similar to the fire sign. And guess what month we're in? Yes, we are in the month of where the constellation of Leo is prominent. Okay, shout out to the fams who are born in August or late July. See what I'm saying? So this is a very important idea where it deals with self-mastery before you can master anyone and everyone else. You see what I'm saying? So most of the initiates into this thing, they had to deal with dream incubations, invocations, fasting, and solar rites during specific astronomical events. Each relief on the temple wall, it was more than decoration. It encoded laws, or the 42 laws of Ma'at and things like that. And for example, a pentaback emerging from a lotus, a motif seen in the temple, signifies the birth of the divine consciousness, the birth of a sacred mind coming from the primordial waters. The lotus, which blooms, say, from the mud, coming from the mud, is a perfect idea for a spiritual awakening. Okay, somebody asked me about a couple of months ago about the lotus. Was it used? It was not really prominently used in the Old Kingdom and Middle Kingdom, but it became a thing during the New Kingdom and onward. So, but coming forth from the mud, that was a spiritual awakening. So the use of the lion or the three lion heads represent trifold nature of divine consciousness, the past, present, and future. You have to be really focused. You got to be here, there, and there at the same time. That's the reason why these kings and queens were powerful. Why? Because they were masters of those things. They weren't impulsive. They were focused. You see what I'm saying? And so, and not only that, not only the past, present, and future, the body, the mind, and spirit, and in alchemical terms, if you're into that kind of thing, sulfur, mercury, and salt, the three elements of spiritual transmutation. So Nubian temples, I don't think, in my opinion, let me see, get back to it. The Nubian temples, in my opinion, weren't an imitation of the Kemetic temples. They were standalone temples in and of themselves. They may use a similar design, just like many churches in our area. They all kind of look the same, but they're not the same. You see what I'm saying? And so the Nubian temples, they didn't just replicate or try to repeat what Kemet was doing. They were reverberations of ancestral mastery and memory, according to Sudan, pulsing with spiritual alignment. Okay. So far, we talked about the temple as a cosmic machine. the Nubian temple, the soul of the south. Coming up, we're going to deal with the Karnak complex. We're going to deal with Hatshepsut's temple. And do we have a bonus? Do we have a bonus? Because thanks to some of the fam, we may have a bonus. And I'm checking roll. Because if you skip out early, you're not gonna get credit. Brother Moore. All right, so the Karnak complex. Okay. So in the sacred landscape of Waset or Thebes, say what are now actually bends and goes beneath the golden horizon, stands a temple that was built into a person. Okay, this building or this complex represented a person. Okay, and it is the temple of Karnak or Ipi-Wasit or Ipi-Sut. Okay, it was more than something to be pretty to look at. It was a vessel. It was a harmonic machine. It was stone, but it was also heart and soul too, in my opinion. So the ancient Kemetic priesthood at Karnak was the seat of Amun-Ra in Kemet. Now we had a seat of Amun-Ra in Kush in Sudan, which is Gabel Bakar, right? But now when it come down to Kemet, the seat of Amun-Ra is in Thebes in Waset, right? And so every throne, every cosmic memory where the mysteries of light, sound, and order were woven into the physical world. Don't forget to hit the like button as you come in. Now, before we get started, with this temple complex, got a review. Based on the previous video about Queen Hatshepsut, which empire did she go to war with? Which empire did she go to war with? Rome, Egypt, Greece, or Syria? Okay. Fortunately, there was a lot of people that was paying attention. Yes, she went to war with Rome. Okay. If you answered it correctly, you got an A for the day. if you answered it correctly. See, y'all weren't trying to make me mad this time. Almost everybody got it right. All right, let's go. Now, let's get to it. Now, the most powerful sites, the beautiful sites, in my opinion. I haven't been there yet. One day I will go. This is dedicated to Amun or Amun-Ra, the hidden one, the revealed sun. Karnak vast layout is encoded in solar theology and royal legitimacy. The sacred lake reflected by the I have a diagram here. So hold tight. I have a diagram up on here. So the sacred lake reflected the watery chaos of the waters of Nun, and in which a place in which Amun emerged. The pylons aligned to the sun's path is thresholds between realities. Okay, there's always a dualistic concept. The hypostyle hall with the force of giant papyrus columns, which is awe-inspiring. And I think some of these columns, yes, it looked like papyrus, but it also looked like the baobab tree further south in Africa. If you look at the baobab tree, and you look at some of these columns, they look very similar. Okay. And so this is designed for ritual, for knowledge, and sound and knowledge activated spiritual leaders of that sacred space. Processional routes like the Apet festival path connected Karnak to Waset, symbolizing the cyclical return of the divine energy. Now, let's get to it. Now, here it is. There's a couple of things I want you guys to get understanding. Okay, the Karnak Temple complex. It was dedicated to Amun. Okay, there's a sacred lake, port of reflection, the hypostyle hall, and the Opet festival. Okay, you got it. Dedicated to Amun. Okay, sacred lake, the hypostyle hall, and the Opet festival. Now, this is the Karnak complex. Okay, this is what it looks like. All right, so we have every pylon, every hypostyle hall, every sacred space, lake, avenue, ram-headed sphinx was part of the grand sacred anatomy of the human body. Okay, Karnak was mapped by great architects, and I learned this, y'all. You guys are very intelligent. I didn't know this. Each phase, each part was built by another pharaoh. See what I'm saying? And like it started with the Middle Kingdom, and even Taharka added something to this building. That's what it is. That's what dynasties are about. Okay. What we try to do, we try to be the alpha and omega in a sense when it comes down to whatever we're doing, instead of trying to set the cornerstone or add a brick to the work. And so yeah. So the temple unfolds like the human body. So Karnak's axis mirrors the celestial path aligned with solstices, equinoxes, encoded with stellar coordinates connected to the earth with the duat. Now, you see this arrow here. Okay, that is north. Okay, that is north. To my understanding, that is north, that is south. East, what is east? That is the heart of the matter. We're about to get I got a few more slides on here, but yes, that is the heart and the mind. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get into this now. And as you can see, here's another representation of that. Okay, of a human body. It's like Minnetonka before Minnetonka. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so it's built. So we have the first pylon here, which represents the feet. Okay, the entry into that sacred ground. Okay, the hypostyle hall. Okay, these pillars here, the hypostyle hall represented the lungs and the rib cage. Okay, to breathe light into it. Okay, and then the sanctuary of Amun-Ra, that is the heart. Okay, that's the heart. Okay, the divine seed, divine spark, and then there's the bark, a solar bark where the womb is. Okay, it's not on this picture, but we get into that. Now, here it is. Here it is. Now, when we get to this is the entire layout right here. The entire layout. Of course, we have the feet. The first pylon, which is the feet. The hypostyle halls right here. And we have the sanctuary, the heart of Amun-Ra. And right here is the Jesser Jesseru, or the Holy of Holies, which represents the mind. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. yeah. I've been waiting for this one. You know, I'm doing this for y'all because y'all asked. I said, okay, let's go and do it. I think we're all ready for this one. and so the now when you think about it, okay, it represents also not just a earthly body, it represents the shoot, the spiritual body, the star. Okay, the walker's halls is basically to undergo an inner resurrection, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? So to walk that, because remember the pyramids were was a way to say that you are to become an imperishable star. So the Karnak complex, by you walking through there, you was becoming that star. You see what I'm saying? So now, here we go. We'll get back to the diagram in a second. Now, the hidden one, okay, is dedicated to Amun, the hidden one, the veiled one. The temple honors Amun-Ra, whose name means the hidden one. Okay, and that's the reason why it was such a disconnect when Akhenaten tried to say, okay, we're going to worship the Aten. His mom was like, bro, we already have this. Okay. So the hidden one, Amun, he is the Neteru who conceals his essence behind all appearances, a deity, a paradox, and mystery. Okay. Amun represents that which cannot be spoken, only experienced. Matter of fact, when I told you about the story of Isis, when she tried to get his name, his secret name, okay, she we went through the story, we had the discussion about it, but he went to her and said, okay, to heal me from this poison, I'm going to tell you my hidden name. And he told her mouth to ear. He kind of told her in a whisper. So that is the hidden one here. Okay. Now, the hidden one also represents that which cannot be spoken, only experienced. His presence as Karnak is not, say, static or stoic. It is dynamic, invoked through ritual, color, and incense light. Okay. Now, but before I get into that, okay, Before I get into that, I got a question. Knowing what we know, knowing that some of these temples are aligned with stars, do you think the temple was founded when the constellation of Aries was prominent? Like and comment below. I had to look at this. I had to look when I'm doing this PowerPoint. I kind of lean, and it's a lot of rams lined up here. Okay, and by the way, the rams, that the man that's standing in front of the ram and the ram behind, that is basically representing God is behind this person, or the hidden one is behind this person, or this power is behind this person, right? But do you think the temple was founded, or it was, we know that it was not complete until, say, the 25th dynasty, but when it was established, was it founded during the constellation of Aries? Like and comment below. Let me know. Because guess what? This is why I had to throw this in here. The age of Aries, the constellation of Aries, okay, occurred between 2150 before Common Era to 1 Common Era. So at its zenith, at its height, it was between 1700 and 600 before BC during the New Kingdom. So the Temple of Karnak was established during this time. The piece, not to talk out of turn, but I was looking at a video of Pangea. A guy mentioned how it looks like a baby in fetal position. I might be, maybe so. If I squint and lean my head a little bit, it may be possible. You see what I'm saying? What's going on, Hoop Daddy 7? What's going on? All right. So, but occurred. So the age of Aries. So think about it. Just think about it, because guess what? In a few weeks, because Brother Mo, he's gonna love this. We're going to talk about the connection with the Sphinx, the kings, and the stars. Okay, yeah, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about the connection between the Sphinx, the Heru and Maket, the kings, and the stars. Yeah, there is a connection, and I'm gonna throw in a Epitamac also. But yeah, there is a connection between the Sphinx, the kings, and the stars. All right, because the Heru and Maket is 10,500 years old. Okay, so there is a connection there. But we're going to get into that, and we're going to talk about the ancient astronomers of Nubia, how they align their stones with the constellation of Taurus, which represent Neteru. Yep, we're going to talk about that. Mentioned the body unfurling. Yeah. So this August we're going to have that conversation. We're going to go into further detail with some of this information. We're going to talk about the Sphinx. We're going to talk about Nabta Playa and Neteru. So let's get it now. So if you are enjoying the content, like and subscribe so you don't miss anything, because we're about to go a little bit further dealing with Karnak and everything else and Hatshepsut. So let's get it. Now, the Hypostyle Hall. Okay, let me show you the Hypostyle Hall. I'm gonna try to get back to that slide where the Hypostyle Hall is. Okay, this is the Hypostyle Hall, fam. All right, this is the Hypostyle Hall. Okay, all right. So we dealt with the feet, right? And remember, the hidden one of that sacred space is right in here, right? And as somebody mentioned, everybody can't get in there, right? Dealt with the feet, the Hypostyle Hall. Now, when you step into it, that's the temple of resonance. The 134 papyrus columns do not merely support the roof; they was celestial harmonic. So each one of those columns was a book. You hear what I'm saying? Each one of these columns here was a book. So therefore, we had a library before a library. Each one of these columns was a book. So it's no coincidence that the capitals resemble blossoming papyrus, where you use papyrus for paper, a symbol of regeneration, clarity, and the word made manifest, right? And so they channel celestial harmonics. Each column acts as a tuning fork, a vibrating with chants and rituals performed within. But as I mentioned before, each one of these columns was a book. Not to mention the meta nature written everywhere else. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So now above the ceiling was I'm gonna get to that slide in a second. But above the ceiling, in some spaces there was painted with golden stars, the celestial sky. Below the stone floor grounds, you to the earth. Between them, you walked in a vertical axis. And remember, this is pointing north, right? And so the most sacred parts of the temple was in the east. There you go. So you walked from here to here, okay? Walked in a vertical axis, crossways, a human, and this is a straight line, right? I'm looking at this. Goodness. This represented the spinal column. Just like when we discussed the Jed pillar, this aisle here, this section here represented the spinal column, and this space here represented the mind or the brain, right? So yeah, so you walked in virtual axis, human spine path of ascent, a path of knowledge, awakening that memory, right? And the priest, he wasn't just reciting information, he was teaching. Each area here had a few priests teaching other priests. Okay. And so this was not just a place of worship in a sense, it was a place of knowledge. Great knowledge. I appreciate it. Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I was excited writing this. So I had to slow down. But yes, each one of these areas represented something. The feet, the rib cage, the heart, the mind, right? And so as you walk through these, you were dealing with the names and the energies of the Neteru. You weren't reciting them, you was actually recreating them and reweaving them. So when you are reading that, you say, I am powerful, I am great, and that kind of thing. And we have the sacred lake here, right here. We have the sacred lake, right? And so behind the sanctuary lies seemingly a simple lake, yet it is one of the oldest sacred bodies of water in Egypt. Okay, the lake was used for bathing, but also for spiritual reflection and temporal reset. And I told you, King Pi had to dip himself. He had to bathe himself. He went there to do that. Okay, when we discussed King Pi doing a physical, he was throwing hands and resetting Kemet. He bathed in that sacred lake right there. He sure did. So realizing that he had to purify himself before he even get to enter into here, he knew what it was. The Romans were just being disrespectful. So the water, of course, in ancient African cosmology, is a medium between the seen and the unseen, the realm of the noon, the primordial chaos before order. At Waset, at Karnak, the sacred lake was a mirror through which the priest could commune with the ancestors and the Neteru. And at night, it was still surface reflected constellations, turning the lake into a star map. Also, you have the star map in the temple above, right? But also, the sacred lake will reflect that. Let me get some water here. So we have the hypostyle. We have the foot at the bottom. That's where you enter. The hypostyle hall, the rib cage, the heart. Okay. The Middle Kingdom Court. The reason why they call it the Middle Kingdom Court, that's where it started. I told you guys it took them centuries to build this. Centuries to build this. One person didn't build all this. Every pharaoh added on to it. And that's another reason why some pharaohs like Amenemhat the fourth, so Neteru's so-called stepbrother, fell into disfavor with some of the priests in Kemet was because he didn't add on to this. Okay, what's going on, King Hercules? What's going on? Now, speaking of that, King Hercules got a fantastic mathematic presentation. I'm gonna have to bring him on to discuss the black mathematics, and this is all up his alley here. He talked about the space between spaces, and he showed the mathematical problem that deal with it. Yep, I'm gonna have to bring him on to let him cook. So, but yeah, but so in this, every king added on to this. Okay, and so we had the sacred lake, which was a place where you had to dip, you had to, you know what I'm saying, get yourself together. And so, and the festival. Let me see if I can get another illustration to that. Oh, before I get to that though, all right, would you rather? Would you rather read the stars like a Kemetic priest, not knowing what we know, Okay. Okay. Good evening, Sister Linda. What's going on? Good evening. Just in time. We about to get into Hatshepsut's temple in a second. Would you read the stars like a Kemetic priest or read the minds like a Nubian seer? Like and comment below. Let me know. Would you rather? Would you rather read the stars like a Kemetic priest or read somebody's mind? Like and comment below. Let me know. Let me know. Let's get it. Now, this is like I said, this is another representation of the Hopstel Hall. Each column represented a book. This is the name of an Insubiti here. I want to say with this Mesu, but I can't read the rest of it. But yeah, that look like Tahuti Mesu. That look like Tutmosis the Third. Look like he put his stamp of approval on that thing. Okay, yeah, and this is of course is the Wajet. Okay, so, both Wajet is around another Insubiti, and each one of these represent. And we have a moon here. Okay, each one of these represented a book for a person to read, a person to study. The fam is saying they want to read people's mind. I don't want to know. No, I'd rather live the rest of my life not knowing. I'd rather not. Rather not. Blue Air said read minds. Herc says read mine. No, I'm with Sister Linda. I'm with read the star like a Kemetic priest. I'm for that. I'm for that. Everybody else want me read people's mind. Y'all nosy. That's the thing. Y'all y'all are nose up in this thing. Get your life together. Yeah. So this is another another view of the sacred lake. All of this is the hypostel hall here, what's left, and this is the area where the Jesaru is. It just flipped. Okay, this is the north right here. If you are looking at it, the right side is of course north. Okay, and this is south. The east is right in front of you, and then west. They're coming in from the west, right? And they're dipping and everything else, getting their life together. Okay, so at Karnak, the sacred lake was a mirror through which the priest could commune with the stars. And of course, at night it was a star map. It was both a womb and mirror and a portal and a purifier. That's what it was. Brother Joseph Ferguson want to be Professor X. Okay, you got it, bro. You got it. Yeah. So the sacred lake was a womb and a mirror. It's a birthing place and a place of reflection. It was a massive place of reflection. I like whenever I go out and go to a pool. I don't like to do all that dunking and all that. I just like to sit in the water, just to relax, just to chill. Okay, so this was that place. Okay, now the festival of Opet each year. And by the way, this is also this is a section also built by Seti the First. Okay, this is built by Seti the First. That was on the outside of it. Okay, that was on the outside. But the festival of Opet, the divine union and rebirth, each year The Karnak became a center of divine alchemy during the Opet festival, when the statue of a moon would be carried from Karnak to Luxor Temple along the avenue of the Sphinxes. Okay, the round Sphinxes. We still gotta chop it up about that. This was a mystical procession, a metaphysical procession of transference of knowledge and power. A moon traveled to unite Mut and the mother and Khonsu the son, forming the sacred triad of divine birth. And it was carried in a golden chest, very similar to the Ark of the Covenant. All right. So this journey was symbolic of the soul's own path, the departure from the throne. Let me go. Departure. They go from here, carrying the chest from here, and they just made that procession outward. Okay. This journey was symbolic of the soul's own path, the departure from that hidden place, that secret place. We all have that. Okay. And then you emerge, you become transformed, you become renewed. Okay. And transformation or thoughts starts within the mind. Then it goes into the action. Okay. And so and when it comes back and it returns to the one who sees with both eyes, the Wajet with divine vision. So yeah. So the temple as a stargate. I think Brother Mo mentioned this, and I think Hoop Daddy Seven said this. The temple as a stargate, a living portal to the Duat. Yeah. It is. Any architecture of Karnak is embedded in a deeper truth. Its temple is a stargate. Okay, its temple is a stargate. Thresholds between pylons are energetic gates, each one guarded by the Neteru. Okay, hieroglyphic writing and sacred knowledge passed down from generation to generation. It is also sacred geometry about the Duat or the afterlife. See, the outer courtyards representing the waking life, and the deeper you go, the more subtle the energy becomes until you reach the Jessa root, the holy of holy, or the black womb, the seed point of stillness. So to walk through Karnak was to, as an initiate, was to undergo death and rebirth while you're yet living. Most of these processes, most of the initiations at the time, it was a form of death and then rebirth. It was a rehearsal of transfiguration, a slow uncoiling of the Ka and Ba, the Ka Ka and Ba, Ba, the soul's essence, winged freedom. So the way it is made now, the way you see it now, but think about back at that time. I still want to go, but it is a sleeping giant in the sense of spiritual memory. Every stone still hums, say, with a sound of the ancient chants. Every crack, the columns remember the footsteps of the Kari Heb or the high priest, or even the Insubiti that walked through them. Okay, so it waits for people to remember that, I think. Okay, for those who know how to listen, the Temple of Waset, it still speaks. Okay, and so, but let me get back to it. I really like this image here. This is the temple here. It is shaped like the body of a person, and each king built each phase of this. Started with the Middle Kingdom on out. And think about the architects. Think about the grand architects that designed this. They had to be on point too. They had to be on point. Each one of them had to build a phase. And it started here, and then it expanded. And of course, we had the Temple of Khonsu here, the Temple of Ptah, Temple of Muntu. But it started right here in the center, and then it expanded outward. Yeah. So I just have to go back to it because that's crazy. All right. So let me fast forward here. I had to go back to it. Now, we talked about the Temple of Cosmic Machine, the Nubian Temple, the Karnak Complex, Hatshepsut's Temple, and we got a bonus. And yeah, Brother Moore, check and roll at the end. Now, the magnificent Jessaru, or Holy of Holies. Yep. I've been kind of pushed. I kind of touched on it a little bit, but now we're gonna have to lean into this one. The magnificent Jesu of Holy or Holy of Holies of Queen Hatshepsut's mortuary temple. But before that, I got a question. Now, got a question. Would you rather be initiated in a secret Nile Valley order or trained in a healing temple like a Per Ankh or a House of Light? Yeah. And we got to, for the fam, let me go back to it. This, for the loud people in the back, this is what Black people did. That's, matter of fact, that's just a fifth of that. That is a sleeping giant there. A sleeping giant that was built by sleeping giants of today, in a sense. You see what I'm saying? Because before the Middle Kingdom, you had the pyramids. They was building these. Okay, and then so they went from the pyramid, from the solar kind of thing, to the hidden, they went into, say, the Valley of the Kings, and each chamber. Them, when you think about the Valley of the Kings, right, and how it was built, think about the Valley of the Kings and how it was built. Those vaults and those rooms, those tombs, like KV5, Ramses II, and Ramses III tomb, they did not collapse on each other. Yeah, they didn't collapse. Sleeping Giant said, yeah. A lot of people want, okay, so Leonard, train in a healing temple or Per Ankh. Okay. King Hercules, get initiated. Yeah, that's me. Blue Aries, train in a healing temple. Okay. Healing temple. Yeah, I get it. With all the things that's going on in our community. Yeah, I think we need both. I think we need both people that's duly initiated and trained to heal. You see what I'm saying? Because we're gonna need them both. We're gonna need them both. And I think the thing is, though, in order for you to be a healer in a healing temple, you had to be initiated in that process anyway. All right. Yeah. Healing temple, Per Ankh, very good. House of Light, yeah. Now, let's get to it. All right, now we're going to enter into the crux of the whole matter. Okay, the heart of basically tonight's focus, the Deir el-Bahari, the Temple of Hatshepsut. Unlike many other rulers, Hatshepsut's temple is a declaration of divine birth, feminine rulership, and cosmic legitimacy. Remember, she was Queen and Insubiti, right? She was Sematawi, and she aligned herself with Sobek Neferu because she was a female Insubiti or an emperor. Okay, built on the cliffs at Thebes, at Waset, the three-tier structure echoes threefold path of the soul. We're going to get into that. We're going to break that down. Emergence, ascension, and divine reunion. The central colonnade tells the sacred story, just like that central focus, that line that represents the spinal column. It declared that she was not just a regular king, but she was divine. Okay. He says, not to swear topic, but their anomaly in parts of Africa, I think, is like a black block. I don't know. So, all right. Now, Deir el-Bahari. Chapels to Neteru, Anupu flank the temple. Hathor's and remember, to be made in Subiti, yes, Isis birthed you into this thing, but Neteru had to co-sign. Okay. And so Hathor, the goddess of the womb and stars, symbolizes celestial ascent. Anubis, guardian of the dead, ensures resurrection. Together they create the spiritual gate of rebirth. So this is the temple of el-Bahari. This is a complex. Okay. Now, this is her temple of Hatshepsut right here. And this is the temple of Mentuhotep, which is an ancient ancestor that came before her about, correct me if I'm wrong, about 1,000 years. So Hatshepsut wanted to align herself with the ancestors. And of course, Tutmosis III has his temple here. Okay, so we have the very similar thing. We have the column, we have the columns, we have the different phases, and we're going to discuss them. Okay, so now the first terrace, the first section here, okay, represents the outer world. Okay, represents the outer world. Okay, civic rituals, public processions. Okay, the middle, that middle part, the second terrace, that's the mystic realm, the divine stories, birth, and it deals with Ponce expedition. I have another image of this. We're gonna get to that in a second. The third terrace, the inner sanctum, right here. This third, so there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, the innermost part, the inner sanctum, union with the gods, the solar sanctuary. So the terraces were symbolic of the body, the soul, and the spirit. The initiate's journey, not unlike, is very similar, say, to the chakras, but this is a cosmic thing. This is a African thing. Okay, the terraces were it wasn't like a stair, but they were thresholds. Every level represented a trial, a vision, and a mirror. The temple, like I said, is structured in 3 ascending levels. You're going up. Okay, it symbolizes an initiate's path. Okay, so this is the first terrace, the earthly realm. Okay, world of forms and mortality. Right, the earthly realm. Okay, that is the first terrace. The second, intermediary, that's where myths and divine stories are carved, and then the third. Okay, so we have let me see if I can find it. Let me find a good one. I'm just going to use this one. The axle ramp here, the path of the sun or the initiate. Okay, the path of the sun or the initiate. That is the central processional ramp, is symbolic of the journey of the sun, Ra, or a moon through the heavens and the underworld, right? It also reflects the initiate's spiritual path from ignorance to enlightenment, from uh from unknowing to knowing. The porches, okay, or the colonized, okay, that is these sections here, okay, the colonized here, okay, they depict mythological scenes, sacred hunts, and symbols of divine order, victory, and protection. Obelisks are similar, are similar symbols or solar symbols pointing. They at that time they had obelisks here, pointing to Ra and a connection to the divine light. And so we have number 8. Where is that? Oh, there it is. This is on this side here, on the left hand side. When they go up, that tells the story of her going to Neteru, or God's land. Okay, journey to the ancestral spiritual source. Okay, and then we have number 6 on this side. We have number 8, then because you're going up. Okay, you're going from the external to the intermediary to the internal. So on number 6, it shows Hatshepsut's divine birth and divine legitimacy as queen. Okay, that is the middle north colonnade, right? And so we start here, external, intermediary, then you go into the internal, right? Now, so then we have the sanctuary of Hatshepsut, okay, right here. Sanctuary Hatshepsut, that is Sanctuary Hatshepsut as a deified person. Once you go through that process, once you get into the innermost part, then you are now the Neteru, okay, the Neb Nebu. You are that guy, basically. Okay, just like the Temple of Karnak, where the innermost part was only for the priests and the rulers, right? Sanctuary was that represented Hatshepsut as a deified being. It represented the soul's transformation into that divine form. Okay, and the Chapel of Anubis. Okay, let me see what we have. Neteru shrine here. The Chapel of Anubis is right here. That represented death. Before you can even get into that Hatshepsut, that inner sanctuary, something has to come off. Okay, it's dedicated to Anubis. This is a transition point between the mortal world, the external world, into the realm of the duat, right? And we have the Chapel of Neteru here. Chapel of Neteru, goddess of beauty, music, fertility, and the afterlife, right? And so each terrace, each phase represented something. So this is also when you start represented birth. The chapel has Neteru represented birth, fertility, and it is a political move in a sense where, as well as a spiritual science, the queen becomes pharaoh through birth. Hatshepsut channels Neteru's energy, sensual, powerful, creative, and sovereign. This is sacred womanhood here. And it's divine exaltation, not ornamental, not secondary, but primary. So when Queen Hatshepsut made her way from here into this little shrine here of Neteru, she was saying that she was going to be born as queen. She was physically born. Now she's gonna be spiritually born. Yes, something has to come off. Then she has to come here. Okay, um, so why? I got a question. Why does modern society fear the return of, say, the divine masculine and divine feminine? In your opinion, what do you think? Why is that? Why is learning this information such a problem in certain to certain people? You know, I'm just asking because everybody has to undergo a process. Okay, and so we have the porch of Punt, right? Really quick. That's where they had that discussion with God's land, right? And so when they each each phase represented a certain level. Now the chapels, okay. Now dealing with let me see, where is it? The Shrine of Anubis. Okay, we got a Shrine of Anubis that is transitioning, embalming. And matter of fact, that is where they embalmed her. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. When she actually had her last rites, it was there. It was there. It's non-Eurocentric. It's not Eurocentric. That is correct. A lot of these things are African customs, but the people of Kemet put them in stone, put it in stone. And the people of Kemet was like, no, this is actual fact. Yeah. Because the reason why is because the line from the white nationalist America would destroy their mental stability. Obama already fractured it. Yeah. When people start doing a reset and they start undergoing that external to internal process and saying, hey, I am the Lord here. I am the king here, the queen here. You can't tell me what to do. You need to dust your shoe. You need to dust off your feet before you come here. You see what I'm saying? And so um, these chapels were right around here. So we have the external, immediate, and the internal court. Okay. Now the royal worship chapel, that's where she had her personal space. Okay. But this here, 13, Amen, and Royal Family Chapel, that is the Jesaru right here. That small space. Yeah. The small space. And Harkathi courtyard, that is on the outside there. And there's Anubis's upper chapel right here, but it is straight line. Okay, that is outside. That's the initiate, the scholar, the master. Initiate, scholar. You learning about Punt. You learning about your history. You got to divest yourself. You got to challenge yourself. You got to get better. Change has to be made. You have to be created and made and remade into something better. Then you can go into the Jesaru. That's how it goes. Okay, that's how it goes. Okay, and so of course the ramp is many times before that is the spinal column. Okay, the spinal cord. And the terraces are those sacred spaces. The entire structure operates like a machine. Okay, and so the temple of Mentuhotep right here is right here. By the way, like I said, she deliberately built her temple next to an older mortuary temple to align herself with an ancestor. And of course, to Moses, as many times he tried to separate himself from his stepmother, here he is, okay, right next to him. Okay. Just remember this. Remember this. If you don't remember anything else, there's phases to this, there's levels to this. Mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul, levels of initiation, or Egyptian cosmological layers, the earth, the duat, and the sky, solar realignment, resurrection, divine order, solar kingship. Something has to change when you're going through this process. And if you remain the same while you're going through this process, you're gonna be very disappointed. And I'm sure quite a few people have, when they went to these places, said, "Oh, it does nothing for me." Okay, it wasn't for you. Just like I seen a picture of they have a race car track, some kind of race car track by the pyramids. So you guys are trying to monopolize on Kemetic science and Kemetic information, and you got a doggone Indy 500 type situation by the pyramids. Yeah, those spaces aren't sacred to you. Okay, it's not important to you. See what I'm saying? So yeah, I have to say that. But even though Tutmosis tried to erase who she was, but she still was her. See what I'm saying? She still was her. Okay. Her temple is eternal because it wasn't built on ego, but it was divine order. It was built on Ma'at. Hatshepsut carved herself in the stone, so we would remember who she is. And so now that was the magnificent Neteru. All right. Now, Osirian Temple at Abydos. Now, Abydos itself is an ancient place. That is a pre-dynastic old kingdom area. Okay. So beneath the sand and behind the lies of one of behind the myth basically lies, say, Kemet's one of Kemet's oldest mysteries, because this subterranean chamber lies behind the temple of Seti the first in Abydos. Now, Abydos as a complex, as a site, is old. And Seti the first, just like Hatshepsut, built the temple next to her ancestors, Seti decided to do the same thing. He made the shrine of Osiris, the Lord of Resurrection. Now, I've been told that there is a tomb of Osiris at Abydos also. I got to do my homework. Okay. And so it's surrounded by water, megalithic granite pillars, and Osirian symbolizes the primordial water of Nun, and the Ennead, or the ancient Neteru, was symbolically housed here in watery depth, mirroring the unconscious foundation of creation from unconscious to conscious. It was a place of ritual baths and purification, a place where initiates would face darkness and there to be reborn again. So we have that birth to rebirth situation again. Okay. So no matter what phase, be it in the pyramids, be it the old kingdom, be it the temple of Karnak, Hatshepsut's temple, or even here, you hear that change, that rebirth coming through, right? You hear that life, death, rebirth again. So to me, these complexes mean a lot. Okay, they were those sacred spaces, those sacred aisles, and I wish that we all can kind of get understanding that if we can visit that, we see that they're coded maps for spiritual transformation and information, right? And so the temple. So if anything else, the temple is you. You are the temple. Okay, the body is a temple. Okay, the sacred lake is your subconscious. The pylons is your threshold. The sanctum sanctorum, okay, the Jesu is your divine core. Rituals, geometry, myth, that is you talking, walking, and speaking. So, yeah, that's the temple complexes and the Majestic Gateway. But get this, we do have a bonus. Yeah, I got, guess what? I gotta go. School starts back, school starts in a few weeks and teachers come back tomorrow. So I got a bonus for the fam. So now, thanks to we have a bonus. Okay, the Black Pyramid. Yeah, the Black Pyramid. The Black Pyramid. Um, thanks to Brother Isu, he gave us, because I was saying I wouldn't. The goal was to get a super thanks or super chat to make this bonus content. So guess what? Thanks to Brother Isu, One Voice Africa, we finna go and do it. Shout out to the fam. Now, so in the desert of Jasur, this is the Black Pyramid was made during the Middle Kingdom. Okay, so this was away from the celebrated monuments of Giza. And this is a relic, basically, it's forgotten by many people. It's not carved in smooth stone, but black rock. Okay, it's not one of the great pyramids of Kafade or the Red Pyramid of Sneferu or even the Step Pyramid. This is the Black Pyramid of Amenemhat III. It is not. It's not that good looking. It was cracked. It was sunken. It's but for its fractured lines, for its fractured look, there is a blueprint of, say, of ascent, okay, royal resurrection, and the alchemy of both darkness and light. So, this is a earthborn monument. The name, it represents the name unspoken. Okay, the Perdajet of the hidden king. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the shadow pyramid, the temple of balance. We're going to talk about the sacred collapse. Okay, we're going to talk about the sacred collapse, the death of a monument or transformation, echoes of the underworld, and Amenemhat the alchemist. So we're going to talk about the earthborn monument, the name unspoken, the shadow pyramid, sacred collapse, echoes, and Amenemhat the alchemist. Okay, so each ascending level represents increasing complexity and organization, mirroring the cosmological process of creation. This is the capstone of Amenemhat the third's pyramid. This is the Black Pyramid. He's Queen Sebek-Neferu's father. Okay, so I'm going to break this down real quick. I'm going to break this down. Now, the top line here. Okay, the top line here. Okay, hit the like button as you come in. The top line here is Nakbet and Wajet. That is symbolic of protection. Okay, so when you see it, okay, it's symbolic of protection. The eyes are the eyes of the king looking eastward into the horizon of the Aket, forever looking, forever watching. Amenemhat, that is his name. Amenemhat, okay, that is his name. Okay, Amun is in front. Sarah, okay, that is son Sarah right there. So Amenemhat, Amun is in front. And Sarah, or son of the sun, Insudbiti, okay, that is the king of the north and south. And in his throne name, that's announced at the coronation and always written in the cartouche or Shin ring, the official name of the pharaoh, that is Ni Ma'at Ra. Okay, Ni Ma'at Ra. Okay, so he who belongs to the Ma'at or justice or balance of Ra. Yeah. So this, okay, the bottom line here, it says, open is the face of the king Amenemhat. He observes the Lord of the horizon crossing the sky, the northern, with this in the pyramid text, higher is the soul by of King Amenemhat than the height of Orion. And it joins the duat. That's in the pyramid text. So they will insert their names, okay, into some of these texts. Okay, higher is the soul by of King, or the ba of King Amenemhat than the height of Orion, and it joins the duat. He becomes an imperishable star. Okay, let me see what the yeah. I get it. You still. I ain't check roll yet. But we got to take care of family. Family's important. He just step out of class. Mama call. I get it. You know what I'm saying? When mama call, you got to listen. Understand me? But I ain't check roll yet. Yeah. He said, yeah, a guy been following for years said that he's been to the tomb of Osiris. He's been to Kemet 2-3 times. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And so now to the initiate, this wasn't say a flawed design. This is a pyramid born of black earth, echoes the myth of the Kemet's born own rebirth from the chaotic waters of the primordial waters of noon. This was a pyramid of the people's sacred soil. And so this was a pyramid unlike any other, I think, in my opinion. So it was constructed during the 12th dynasty by Pharaoh Amenemhat III. The Black Pyramid was revolutionary. It's a different kind of stone. Unlike earlier pyramids built in massive limestone blocks, this one was composed of mud brick core encased in limestone. So it was a return to the womb of the Nile. So this choice was it was practical and symbolic. Mud brick shaped from the Nile silt signify primordial matter, the essence of the noon from which creation emerges. So this was the earthborn monument, the black stone. Okay. Then we had the name unspoken, the Perdejet of the hidden king. The Perdejet. The Black Pyramid's original name was likely Amenemhat's. In other words, Amenemhat is mighty and perfect. But to the ancient priesthood, names were symbolic and it was portal. So the deeper esoteric meaning lies in the pyramid's alignment and internal plan. The temple of the Ka and Ba, hidden beneath layers of misdirection and silence. He was supposed to be the hidden one, hidden there. Okay. Its layout was a labyrinthine, it was a labyrinth or maze full of false passages, sealed chambers, dead end tunnels. Why? Because this was not just merely a tomb, it was a ritual of concealment. Okay, an initiatory machine that mimicked the soul's descent from into the Duat. Only the worthy could follow the hidden path of Amenemhat's transformation. Only the worthy, only the prepared. So to enter here was to become lost, but to emerge reborn. To come in, you was coming in lost, but when you came out, you was reborn. Okay, that's what it was about. So that was the unspoken, the hidden, the shadow of the pyramid. Okay, temple of balance. Amenemhat the third ruled at the height of the Middle Kingdom's power. Yet he wasn't just a symbolic king. This man reigned for like 40 plus years. He was a divine king, a keeper of balance between the visible and invisible, just like many other people. See, the thing is, we hyper focus on the New Kingdom or the 18th dynasty and onward. But the Middle Kingdom, they had their kings too. And Amenemhat the third, Sebek-Neferu's father, who reigned for 40 plus years, he needed respect. And so the Black Pyramid he made embodies this tension between heaven and earth, light and shadow, stone and mud, permanence and impermanence, right? And so the pyramid once held not only, say, Pharaoh's burial chamber, but also his queen's tomb. Okay. So this shows some kind of duality there between masculine and feminine, between the king and queen, between the seen and the unseen. Okay. And also to have the king buried with the queen, same place, is rare. So it was symbolic. Okay. It reflects the union between the solar and the lunar powers. Okay. The left and the right eyes of Heru. The completion of Ma'at, which is balance, the temple of balance. It was also its own way of a ritual map. Okay. It wasn't ascent, it was more than, say, an ascent to the heavens or the duat, but a descent into the core, into the heart. A sacred inversion or immersion. Okay, the black stairway not up but inward. Okay, every one of these temples, every one of these buildings represented a journey that an initiate or a person has to take, even if they accept it or not, right? So the sacred collapse. This is what the Black Pyramid looks like now. This is what it looks like now. Okay. Was it the death of a monument or was it transformation? Okay. The pyramid's structural failure, it was a slow collapse and has often been interpreted as an engineering error, but I think it was very symbolic. Okay, this was not an accident. The Black Pyramid's instability, its sunken space, its fractured foundation are metaphors. It was symbolic in stone. Okay, the monument that returned itself back to the earth, that was made from the earth, returned back to the earth, was I guess you could say, a self burial, sacred decay. Okay, it's alchemical decomposition. It wasn't destruction, but transmutation. Just as Osiris was dismembered to become the Lord of the Afterlife, the Black Pyramid may be intended to break and split the open veil between worlds. So maybe a priest who was duly initiated may be able to stand in front of that pyramid and see it as is, like the actual complete structure. Who knows? Okay, so even today, the satellite images, see, because today there's satellite images, they show a perfect square at the foundation. Okay, so it is perfect at its foundation, like in a sense, like ghost geometry, haunting the land that it once ruled. So I think it was transformation. So now, though no pyramid texts are inscribed within, scholars believe that the internal chambers did have pyramid texts. Okay, the pyramid text was a major thing all the way up until the 18th dynasty. That's when they used the Book of Coming for by Day, and then later on, say where Ramses II was alive, they used the Book of Gates. But the Old Kingdom and Middle Kingdom used the pyramid text, right? And some of the coffin text. And so the Pharaoh's burial chamber was a metaphorical womb of the West, a place where the sun sleeps and is reborn. The internal architecture itself evokes the book of what is in the Duat, pathways that twist and deceive, or corridors that test the soul's memory. The very act of entering such a space was a trial. You was going to be tried, and what was hidden can only be revealed through the heka, or through magic, through knowledge and words of power. So to the ancient mind, the Black Pyramid was a gate, was a sacred space guarded by the Neteru, invisible to the uninitiated, such as Amit or Amunet, the devourer. Okay, I'm sorry, Amit or Apep, or even the seven spirits of the West who hold the soul to an account. Okay, now Amenemhat III, the alchemist king. Okay, I believe he was an alchemist. I think he was a deep thinker, and he was a scientist, and so he Amenemhat III was the builder of the Black Pyramid. So he was a ruler, and he mastered the waters of the Fayum. We discussed how he charted the waters of the Fayum and made different pools and different terraces. Right, he constructed the Great Lakes, and he was linked to the divine weather control and geomantic knowledge. So his reign was one of balance and innovation. He was an alchemist. The Black Pyramid reflects his political power and his spiritual power. Okay, he was a child of both Ptah and Tahuti. Okay, so he would later build the pyramid at Hawa, suggesting that the Black Pyramid's role may have been deliberately unfinished. So he may have left it unfinished on purpose. Okay, because he wanted the Black Pyramid to mirror the Pyramid of Hawa. You know, and so, like the magical working that opens and releases, it seals itself. His Jesser pyramid may have been its shadow twin and reverse mirror of the later and more perfected monument, the pyramid at Hawa. Also, I've been told that there was, fam, y'all let me know. I've been also told that there are two sphinxes. I wish I had a slide for that. But there may be two sphinxes or two Harun Imhotep. Okay, because there is a stone on the chest of the Haru and McCann. It shows two of them. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe. So, and of course, there was a labyrinth, but I ain't got time. I don't have time to deal with that. I don't have time to deal with the labyrinth. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have the time to deal with that labyrinth under there, because we got to deal with that labyrinth another day. That is a maze. That is a maze by the temple, the pyramid of Harwa. Okay, so yeah, the Black Pyramid of Amenemhat was not a failure. It was a whisper. Okay, it was a secret buried in the bones of Kemet, not meant to tower over, but to sink and to transform. It was meant to endure. Beneath the sunken core lies a question that haunts every soul who seeks the mysteries. What if the greatest monuments were not those, say, to rise to the sky, but to return to the earth? What if true immortality is not carved in stone, but remembered in silence? So all the temples we visit today represents that. And so it represents transformation. It represents change and all those things. So that's what it's about. Okay, and for those who've been with me for a while, these sites are sacred. These sites are important, and it takes us all to get it together. It takes us all to study them and to pay attention, right? So this we just got to talk about the Majestic Gateway, okay? But this Thursday, this is going to be recorded. It's not going to be live. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, and if you still here and you haven't subscribed, you know what I'm saying? But if you enjoyed that, like and subscribe, because we're going to talk about the Zagwe dynasty and how Ethiopia, get this, broke away from the Coptic Church. What's going on, Volta? What's going on? Ethiopia decided to say, nah, bro, we out. We're going to talk about that next Thursday. And yeah, it's going to be recorded. So yeah, so we're going to talk about the Zagwe dynasty and how Ethiopia broke from the Coptic Church. Yep. We're going to get into that. And that would be in chapter 3 of our book. Yeah, we're still in the book, chapter 3, The Ethiopia's a History by Richard Pankhurst. Okay, so get that. The affiliate link is in the description. Yeah, we're going to get into chapters 3 and 4 of the book. Now, and I got because somebody mentioned this. Okay, somebody mentioned a Nubian king that I knew nothing about. We're going to have to talk about him. Okay, it's Adi Jalamani, the Nubian king behind the temple that's now in Spain. Yeah, Adi Jalamani. We're going to talk about him. And these are the books. The Book of Gates, the Sacred Science, Temple in Man, the Egyptian Miracle. Okay, these are some great books, really good. But now I'm about to check roll. But before I check roll, I got a question. Before I check roll, I got a question. What would you like for me to? What would you like for me to? What would you like for me to discuss? On August 4th. What topic would you like for me to address or readdress? Like and comment below. This is I have some things lined up for August. We got the Sphinx and the Kings. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about the not to ply. We're going to break that down. But August 4th, is there a topic that you want me to address again, or kind of add some detail to it? Like and comment below. Let me know. And I'm about to check roll. All right. Now, all right. Before we check roll, everybody, we got Ujumbe members. Abina Scott, shout out to the fam, and Brother Mo. They are Ujumbe members where they get a heads up on. They get the videos before everybody else. they get exclusive live chats and information. So join the membership. Check it out. All right. So now, so much love to Abina Scott and Brother Mo. Now, electrical technology. Okay. Egos Rose, Jennifer C, Byron Gibson, RB, Autumn Goidano. These people they just subscribed recently. Sister Linda and Edwin Moore. Yeah, yeah. Library Without Borders, a little bit of me, honey, and the alumni. Shout out to the Ujumbe alumni, Black on Black, Deborah Keaton, Valerie J, Brown Like Me TV, Global African Progress, Brother Ferguson, Black Buddha. And if you are present and I didn't call your name, like and comment present. Let me see. Shout out to Brother Hoop Daddy, Brother Volta. I see you. King Hercules. Yeah, Miss Blue. Okay. Shout out to the fam that is here. I really appreciate you guys coming through. And so, but if you are here, okay, and I didn't call your name, the person said present. Say I was different today. I didn't say here. All right. Yeah. So now, and shout out to Firmo for the glasses. Yeah, these are great glasses. Shout out to Firmo for the glasses. Books a Million. It's a black thing. Ethiopian Airlines. Amazon. If you ever want to get those books, click the link. The affiliate links in the description there. You Nice, Mika's Hair, Love Me Hair. Shout out to them. And like I said, the affiliate links are in the description. If you ever want to get these books, yeah, the affiliate links are there. As an Amazon affiliate, I earn from qualifying purchases at no additional cost to you. Check them out. Okay. I am thinking about going into detail with one of these books. Really soon. Not soon, but we're going to finish this book, but I want to get into one of these. Since we've been dealing with the temples and everything and the sciences, we got to deal with one of these books. Y'all let me know. So now, and for the glasses, yeah, Firmo got the glasses 50% out promo RJQE50. Check them out. It's really good. You know, I can see a little bit better. But yeah, we talked about the temple as a cosmic machine, Nubian temples, Karnak complex, Hatshepsut temple, and we had a bonus, and I checked roll. Yeah, and when he made sure he threw his hand up. Yeah, but yeah, one more time. If there is a special topic that you guys want me to address, if there is a special topic that you want me to address, August 4th, like and comment below, or if you in the replay, comment in the comment section. Let me know. Okay. And if you like the content, share it with somebody that may enjoy it, or share it on Facebook or your social media platform of choice. Yeah. So yeah, we just got to talk about temple complexes and the Majestic Gateway from Karnak to Hatshepsut's divine blueprint. If there are any, before I turn you loose, are there any questions or concerns? Before I turn you loose, are there any questions or concerns? Okay. If there are none, because I have to get my life together and go back to school. Man, this is not fair. But if there are no questions, I hope everything is well with you wherever you are. I'm really grateful and thankful that you guys have been rolling with me. This is year 5. This is getting better and better all the time. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you guys. And you guys make this awesome. Okay. You guys make it fun. I try not to go back and forth or argue with people. I ain't got time. And to try to keep this show positive and family friendly is worth it. But by you guys coming week in and week out, adding value to the conversation, it makes it even better. You see what I'm saying? The hotel, much blessings. I really appreciate you guys. So yeah, this is year 5, and like I said, we will be getting into Ethiopia. This we're gonna be in chapters 3 and 4. Okay, so we will be following that. Special topic. Yeah. Yeah, let's go. African martial arts. Thanks, fam. Thank you. He's African martial arts is up north, and so shout out to them. They're putting in work. They're doing their thing. I need to do something. You know, I need to get to learn a few skills. But shout out to the African martial arts. Ijakadi, African martial arts. Shout out to them. But if there are no other questions or concerns, you listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast and Ujumbe means message. If you want to catch up with our podcast with the hidden codes, I got a playlist for you. If you want to catch up with, say, our sacred science, or with the realm of the duat, I got that for you. Check it out. Oh, I'm sorry, VA, Virginia. Yeah. Okay. See, I appreciate it. All right. So you listen to King Cam Ujumbe Podcast. Ujumbe means message, and I will talk to you later.